We'll do it live. We'll do it live!
Now we can do it live? Can anybody hear us? I think so. Thank you for dealing with the technical difficulties here. Now we can do it live? Can anybody hear us? I think so. Thank you for... Hit us up in the chat if you can hear us. Let me know. We need you guys. You need you to tell us if this is working or not. Quality wise, I'm not sure, but it looks like.
Well, we're wearing the same shirt, so that's got to count for something.
Hold on, let me lower my standing desk.
How many times have I heard that this week?
That was a complete fluke that was a fluke Skywalker.
That was crazy, yeah, because we both got on for our pre-show meet, and next thing I know, we're both wearing the same shirt, which is just insane. So there's that.
And what we see in OBS looks great, but what we see on YouTube is looking really bad right now. So this is definitely a test run.
Okay. What is it looking like on the YouTube?
It's looking like a comic book, like panels from a comic book.
Okay. So maybe we just need to change our approach and go more comic booky.
Yeah, we should do.
We need to Schumacher this show. Is what we have to do.
All right. Let me go back into single and see if it straightens out. I don't think it matters. I think since we're on.
Right. Let's just give it a shot. See what happens.
All right. Folks, we have been test running this for a while, and we weren't expecting to go this poorly, but here we are.
I'm going to screenshot this freeze frame I have of myself right now. It looks like I'm doing a one-man production of my left foot.
I wonder if the audio is even coming through. No. Let me turn that off. Turn that off. We're gonna get this. It might take a couple years.
I hope not that long. Could it be all the graphics or something, or there's a lot?
No, I think I from my machine to YouTube is pretty flawless connection. I have a gigabit Ethernet.
Okay. This is exciting Star Wars talk.
I've got basically everything turned off.
Yeah.
You're the only incoming signal in the whole, out of the whole throughput, so it like shouldn't be an issue, but it's an issue.
Yeah.
Let me see what's crashing. Skip frames.
All right.
Poor. Stream stats poor. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming.
That's insane.
Frames miss skip frame due to encoding lag.
What if...
All right, let me turn off a couple things.
Okay.
Let me turn off this. Let's just start from bare bones and work our way up here. From 2UP host. This all goes through fine.
Can you throw up the be right back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we need to shut the stream off and start again?
Yeah, I think so. It's the lag. Oh boy, this is great. Aaron, let me try to take you off of
Yeah.
I'm listening to us on YouTube now.
Maybe it's. Oh, jeez.
Skip frames due to encoding lag.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, there's something.
Okay.
It isn't much.
Yeah, there's movement. It's a little. Yeah, yeah. All right.
And how long will it last?
I don't know, but we should run with it while we can.
I just don't want to move. I just want to stay right still so it doesn't lock up on us again.
Right.
Well, we have 5 concurrent viewers. This is the moment. We have to seize this moment. So far, so
hey,
good.
I have it on good authority from Ray that it's so far so good.
Do you really trust his word?
He can hear us. I'm not going to talk.
He's only doing that to make us feel good about ourselves.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live!
He's the best. Hey, how about them Bad Batches?
Oh, yeah. We have a show.
We have a show to do, people.
Welcome. Hello there. Hello there.
Hello there.
Here we are. We're in the middle of just tech support with a little layer of show on top. The show is icing on the cake. Actually, this is a meta experiment. The whole show is just us. We're being so behind the scenes, so transparent. We just want to show you how a show breaks.
It's like the newsroom Studio 60 of Star Wars podcasts.
Yeah, with a little reality TV mixed in there.
Yeah.
The Bachelor. The
Wars.
2 Bachelors. So, yeah, what we were trying to say earlier is we accidentally wore the same shirt to our first YouTube show.
Yeah. That's so crazy.
Mine has lint. I've got a lint roller around here somewhere.
Yeah.
God, I'm tired. But, hey, here we are. I'm bringing the A game. If you can hear us and see us in somewhat real time, please enter in the chat. Because I know Ray's just making us feel good about ourselves. However, I guess we should get on with the show. I would like to redo that coming up scene, but I guess should we try it from the top or just kind of just take baby steps?
Let's
from here?
just go through, and then
let's just
later
go through.
in the descriptions you can say real show starts at, and then put the.
Okay. I can also edit. I think you can edit in YouTube. I'm going to just get on with the next item, which is Happy birthday, George. Happy belated birthday, George. We were actually going to start this show on May the 4th.
Yeah.
And circumstances beyond our control. I don't even remember what they were.
I think it was work for you and work for me.
It was just work. It was so much work.
So here's the crazy thing. On top of wearing the same shirt, we've had these weird synchronicity moments about trying to get the show started. We were going to do May the 4th, and then we had work.
Yeah.
And we're going to do Friday.
Which was George's birthday, May the 14th, which is
but
also...
you and I both got our second vaccination shots on the Thursday.
Which was a second shot of Moderna.
At Pfizer.
Okay.
Represent.
Okay.
So and
then we were both wiped out on that Sunday. Totally wiped out. Just...
It was the worst.
And I made a joke with Maria, who's on here, or who was, and she said, what'd she say? Any reactions? I said, no, the nurse didn't get a single joke. And Maria thought you're telling her dad jokes, but no, that was a joke. I was telling Maria that I thought she was, if I was trying to get a reaction out of the nurse.
That's like a meta dad joke.
So that went, whoosh, and then the moment had passed.
So when I got my first shot, they gave me the shot, and I said, and at what point will I know if I'm pregnant or not? And they laughed. And then
you really said that, yeah.
My second shot,
classic Aaron.
I said to the nurse, she gave me the shot, and I said, so I come back in about 3 months when I start showing? And she's like, yep, you're going to come in, we're going to give you a sonogram, we're going to do the works. And she just ran with it. And I'm like, you need a company car. But they don't give those, apparently.
They don't do that anymore. So
George's birthday.
Yeah, George turned 77 on May the 14th, born 1944. So I ran out of time. I was going to make a graphic. I literally have no time. I mean, I'm trying to plot things out as meticulously as I can, but the graphic that I wanted to create and throw up on the screen for your consideration, starting a new holiday to extend May the 4th would be May the 4th. Wait, let's see. May the 4th of 44th. Wait. May the 14th of May 1940 force be with you. Yeah, because his birthday was May the 14th, 1944. So there's all these opportunities to put force in there. I just wanted to extend out May the 4th another 10 days. But it's still we're still workshopping it. And
that's like the long division of holidays. That's a lot of work there.
So if anybody has a layout background, art direction, if you want to whip that graphic up, I would love to use that next year at this time. So Maria says it's running smoothly.
She would know.
It must be all these high-end pictures of George we're putting up here now. That are
pure sex appeal.
So that's the sexiest picture of George I could find. There are George fun facts. Can you? First off, I wanted to ask you, Aaron, what is your relationship with George? And we all know we all have like one-sided relationships with George, but can you tell everybody, just give us an idea of what your feelings about George while I pull up our show spreadsheet?
Sure. George and I are brothers, and was that what you were talking about?
No. Familial relationship. How do you feel about George right now in 2021?
You know, it's so. What's crazy is looking back to 1977 to seeing Star Wars and his name and him be synonymous with the success of that film. carry that over to Empire Strikes Back, then to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then just through the 80s, alongside Spielberg, his name associated with things, some great, some not so great, whatever, but he was always innovating. And then I look back to the prequels, and at the time, there was this kind of weird reaction that I had, as many of us did, to the prequels, and kind of throwing it on him. And then now I look back and I'm like, no, actually, it was nothing to do with him. There was nothing to do with anything. It wasn't, for me, whatever it was. And he had a vision and he stuck to it. And the technology's been pushed forward. And he's an innovator. He's a genius and a master storyteller. And I can't have anything but reverence and respect and be incredibly thankful for what he has provided us.
Yeah,
we're on the interwebs doing a show about something he created. Yeah. I've babbled for about 37 minutes now. Please tell me you found what you were looking for.
I found the spreadsheet with the facts I had collected, and I knew some of these. I just got some verification, but I just I'm wondering, like, if there was a point you mentioned the prequels, or you had expressed or thought that, oh, he's ruined it. He's ruined my childhood. What has he done? What has he done?
I was never one of those people that was that extreme. I mean, there were some people that went crazy with the prequels as far as, what he'd done to their childhood and that crap.
Yeah. A documentary was made.
Yeah. I watched it and won't get that hour 15 back.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't for you. That's what I say. Here's the beautiful thing too. You have kids. I have kids. Some of the viewers have kids. There is no question in my mind, those kids probably love the prequels. I know my son does. He enjoys the hell out of them. So great. That's a beautiful thing, that there are these generations that are growing up with these movies and these shows and these cartoons, that's their Star Wars. That doesn't mean it has to be everybody's Star Wars.
Yeah.
It can be, but sometimes it's just not going to be. And that's the beautiful thing about what he's created, is that there's something for everybody, and it's continuing to grow and evolve. Incredible.
And it's going forever. And it's just going to go on and just get bigger and just keep solidifying. And it started when we were 4, 5, 6, 7 years old between us, in that age range. It just blows my mind every day. Like, I think every day I think about Star Wars. I know I do. I know. And it's like, it's because of this guy. But I was, I piled on. I think early 2000s, I was I don't think I vocalized or verbalized. I think I put I think I had like big questions for what the approach or the execution. I thought the story arcs, the prequels are masterful. We're gonna talk about the prequels down the road, but talking about George, like, my God, like he's like the inception point for so many things that are part of our lives, part of my life. Like Steve Jobs bought Lucasfilm's computer division in the early 80s. That's on my spreadsheet, by the way. I just had to confirm when the date was, and Steve Jobs turned that into Pixar. So we have Pixar. That inception point was at Lucasfilm as a result of George Lucas making a request to his technicians. You know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly. Nonlinear editing, which is our bread and butter. Yep. He started that out with the Edit Droid, and that was invented at Lucasfilm. The Edit Droid, I didn't know. I knew the Edit Droid, and I knew nonlinear editing started with George. Mm-hmm. But they used laser discs, and they had a database. They had digitized a laser disc and a database that would point to every clip in the film, and the technician could put the clips together, and Laserdisc would run them all together. Then they'd make an edit decision list, and then they'd send that to the lab, and then the film cutters they'd splice those cuts together based on the EDO. That's crazy. That started with George. I mean,
yeah. He's always been such a visionary too. I mean, like the pushing of digital cinema and digital cameras, which is, kind of now we can make films with our phones and a cheap Canon, DSLR. That's a digital. I mean, that's
Yeah.
stuff he was talking about.
From the high end, from the high end of filmmaking, from the highest pinnacle, which is Lucas, Spielberg, and those guys, as far as our the generations we looked up to when we were kids who were making those films. He did bring it. I don't know if he wittingly or intentionally brought it to the people, but it became accessible to us once that technology kind of proliferated, that digital technology. Everybody can make a film. Before, it was like a couple of like small budget visionaries. Like, I will come back in a second. My camera cuts off every half an hour for 10 seconds. But small budget visionaries like Rodriguez and Kevin Smith making their films like just the hard way, pre-digital, right?
Yeah.
But then it all kind of met in the middle. So small budget, but then you've got technology at your fingertips as just a person, off the street can make a movie or a live stream.
Or a live stream. Jebby, I want to jump back to something you said a little while ago about the early 2000s and kind of wondering where the story arcs were going to go with the movies, with the prequels. But what was brilliant, one of the brilliant things he did was he was able to kind of fill in a lot of the gaps later with Clone Wars, like to really flesh out some of the things that we thought were either plot holes or weak areas or things that didn't make sense. He afforded himself the luxury of saying, well, actually, here's what
we're talking.
It is.
You're talking George with the Clone Wars cartoon?
Yeah.
I always put Filoni on the pedestal, on the high horse for that, but George was there the whole time, right? He was executive producer.
Yeah.
Like
up till I think up till season 6, I think, with the one that didn't get released that ended up getting released on Netflix. I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah. He's fantastic. And we can share George Lucas stories. I was going to bring up if we had time. I think we went over a little bit for this segment, but if you've had George sightings, or if you've met him at a con or on the street, there is a clip that just went viral like a couple months ago, and you've seen it.
The guy walking on the street.
Yeah, there's like a
with the music.
And George just kind of walks into frame and across into a building. Where was he going? What was he doing? He was by himself. Just man, oh man, that was such a brilliant.
Shirts.
I should have brought that up here, but that's a brilliant clip.
Yeah.
But I'll save. I have a George Lucas, like a Red Tails story with George in New York.
Oh wow!
But I'll save that for another time.
Okay.
Keep people
maybe
coming.
we can do a follow up.
Yeah, George's next birthday, which is next year, and he'll be 78. But 77, he's 77, and Star Wars came out in 1977. That's why I thought it might be a little significant to mention it today.
No, I like that. And the reason I brought up Clone Wars is because from the Clone Wars, we got a show called The Bad Batch.
Oh, wow. Are we segueing? We're going to skip right over Attack of the Clones.
Well, we'll come back to it, but Bad Batch was first in line. So
yeah.
I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah, so I just want to say, now I have it in front of me, happy May the 14th of 1940, Force be with you.
We'll do it live.
Let's move
Could
on.
we have some technical difficulties right now? That would be amazing.
We'll do it live.
Oh my God.
Yeah, are we lagged out yet? Please lag us out.
Oh, that is holy. Bad Batch, yeah.
Yeah, and I have one drop for this, but
Execute Order 66.
So, in prepping for, we're getting caught up in that we missed two dates that you and I were going to do this thing, and we were going to do May the 4th was going to be our first premiere episode, our first stream, and we were going to talk about that first episode of Bad Batch that night. It didn't pan out, and then the second episode came out, and then now the third one just came out, and we were going to go on Friday, and now I don't know what day. Now it's Monday, and we're 3 episodes in.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of catching up to do, and I had just spent a few hours like trying to summarize or do a synopsis for the first 2 episodes, and it's so jam-packed with story. Yeah. And you're like, It's beating a dead horse. Everybody's kind of already been through the first 3 episodes.
So you're saying I should watch the show?
I was hoping you've watched it by now. If you want, you don't have to. I might keep watching it. You've seen it. It's incredible. I love it. I'm just shamelessly in love with this show, and it kind of already exceeded my expectations. There was one moment in the first act of the first episode, which is 75-minute song. It's called Aftermath, where it seemed something didn't seem quite right, but I figured out what it was, on my own. It was, when they first land, let's see, let me just bring up the synopsis really quickly. So just to set this,
we got to assume everybody here's pretty much probably seen the show by now, and if they haven't, then
I hope so. Yeah. So they are coming to the rescue of a Jedi Master and Master Depa Balaba. That's one I wasn't too familiar with, but
if you haven't watched the show yet, spoilers.
Yeah, tons of spoilers ahead. It's all spoilers. And then her apprentice, her Padawan, is Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me as odd is Caleb. They looked cool. They were doing their thing with their Jedi robes, and Caleb spoke, and it sounded like a 40-year-old man in a little boy's body, a 10-year-old's body. And right away, I was like, something's up with this kid.
Yeah.
And of course, you just have to go to IMDb or wait for the credits, and you figure out that the voice is Freddie Prinze Jr., who is Kanan Jarrus from Rebels. So that's Kanan as a little kid. And so we get to see that moment where he finds his immediate loathing, hatred, distrust for clones, as illustrated in Rebels when he meets up with Rex and Wolf and Gregor.
Yeah.
So we get to see that backstory. And so then right as soon as that, like, we get through that episode, well, we're going to talk about that episode, but it kind of like, okay, so Freddie Prinze Jr. did his best little kid voice, but they really took a minute there to like connect these worlds. And guess what? They're going to be doing that every episode from now until whenever this thing finishes, which I hope isn't anytime soon. Because then there are moments of all this connective tissue that start to show up. And I think in these first 3 episodes, tons of references, tons of visual references and audible references throughout. So I'm like, oh, they care about this. They're taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
In terms of the storytelling, visually and with connecting the connective tissue.
Yeah, visually, it's absolutely stunning. I mean, you look at what they did with the first season of Clone Wars and what they're doing with these episodes now, and just how far they've come. And also, too, I think that's Filoni's work in live action
has informed,
shown him a little bit more about like shot composition and things like that, and which he's always had him and his art crew on the Clone Wars, they've always had a flair for, and Rebels have really composing amazing shots, but something's different this season or this show. It's up a level. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That shot right there in particular with the gap.
Yeah. So listen, I was going through and I'm like, I'm going to screen grab, do a little summary. And then I was in it for this first episode. There's so much story in here. And there's not one frame I couldn't have grabbed as reference, because they are all like well thought out shots, every shot.
Yeah.
And maybe I haven't scrutinized over the Clone Wars as much as I have over this. Although season 7 of the Clone Wars, I watched a few times, and man, it's just everybody's doing something. Everybody has a motivation. Everybody's engaged, and I love it. I love Tech. Tech might be my favorite guy. Hunter's an easy sell because he's like the soldier with the heart of gold, you know.
Yeah.
They're all archetypes, right?
Yeah.
What was your first impressions of of this show?
My first impressions?
What was your first impressions? Yeah.
Okay. I'll go clone by clone.
Yeah.
Rambo clone. They drew first blood, not me. Scarface clone. Say hello to my little friend. Mongo clone. I like to punch horses in the face. And then you've got Borg clone, who's like,
Yeah.
you will be assimilated. And then you've got Radio Shack clone, who's like, did you try over there by the batteries? and then you've got little girl clone, Bad Batch clone, and she's like, I'm the whale rider. And then
I knew I liked her so much. I love that movie.
is that what you meant by my impressions? I don't know.
No. I just wondered if you liked the show, but it's great that you have well fleshed out impressions of each of the characters. That's cool.
Well, I don't have a lot to do. I have a lot of free time.
I understand. I'm sorry.
I'm enjoying the show very much. I will say, the last episode I thought was okay. I
Yeah.
thought it looked great, but it didn't really. There were moments in there, but as a whole, I'm like, okay. But it also maybe one of those episodes, like The Mandalorian had a few episodes like that for me. But then I would go back and rewatch and go, okay, I see why this happened.
Yeah.
You know, building block episodes that I call them, because you're building something to put on them later.
Yeah. I mean, as long as there's not too much filler or fat,
Yeah.
I'm pretty easy to please. Like, but then again, sometimes a filler episode can be fun and a breath from just the relentless like onslaught of like war and battles and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like maybe a little character building episode or maybe a little side mission and you get a little this and that, but it doesn't have to.
And
maybe
I'm
not carrying the weight of the overarching story is okay with me.
Yeah. I love it when people complain about episodes spending too much time on the characters, because it's like, what is I don't understand what you're like. I loved Falcon and Winter Soldier because it took two characters that I liked, one that I really liked and one that I was like, okay, and gave me a character. It made me like understand them more and kind of really connect with them more. So I'm all about give me character episodes. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Character development and like just slightly pushing the big story forward, but yeah,
give me a reason to care about these people, you know.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about the Bad Batch, and I loved them the moment they showed up in Clone Wars. And I immediately I want to know more about these guys, and I loved the inner conflicts that they've established with them with what's the name, Longshot.
Crosshair. Yep, exactly.
I was close. I love what they've done with that, and it's an interesting show, and I think it's going to. I worry it's just going to be so heartbreaking at the end of the season or the show or series or I don't know.
Do you know how long this is going to run? Is it indefinite at this point? Are we going to get 20 plus episodes like they did when they were running on the other network, like
I don't know,
pre-Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Are we getting short seasons?
I'm sure we could look it up, but
I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like these episodes are so dense with like story and the way they're moving. To me, it feels like it's going to be shorter seasons. Yeah. But I've just not had the time to look it up. But the answer's out there somewhere probably. But and I don't know how I feel about that. I like these shorter like live action dramas being 44 minutes or so. But
right.
Give me I don't know. I kind of like a lot of 30-minute episodes of Star Wars shows of cartoons. So
yeah,
I'm not sure how that's gonna net out. But like speaking of dark, I just felt like the second episode. The second episode wasn't too dark, but we get to revisit Cut and his wife, the Twi'lek, and their kids, which are interesting. Like, are they half Twi'lek kids? Is that a thing?
Now
clones can reproduce.
Yeah.
Somebody put in the chat if they can reproduce, if the clones can reproduce.
Yeah.
But then we get to hear about chain codes, and one of the little aliens that looks just like one of the pod racers from Phantom Menace does a little bit of exposition. Kind of, there is exposition throughout, but it seems to be handled very well. It's not just the whole show doesn't stop for exposition. There seems to always be something going on when someone like Tech is busy working on something and he's like, oh, you didn't know that she wasn't a clone, or you didn't know she was
Yeah.
a clone. So I think they've got that down to a science, because you have to. We're learning all this new stuff, but chain codes were mentioned in Mandalorian, right? With the tragedy episode where the Razor Crest gets blown to bits. Boba returns. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
This is my chain code. This guy shows his chain code to Mando to say, "Hey, here's my receipt. Give me my armor back." So I just rewatched that episode just coincidentally, and I was like, "Oh, that's right, chain codes." I knew I'd heard that before, chain codes, and now they're talking about chain codes in this show. So now everybody needs to have an ID, right, to get around. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. That's some connecting stuff that I like when they start spreading that across the different timelines and stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that second episode was a little bit lighter, but also I found something I may have thought may not have been earned was when Hunter was trying to not drop Omega, but let Omega go with Cut and his family as they went off world, because she didn't belong with him, and it really crushed her spirit. Right, she went back to the ship and took that little thing off of her head. I don't quite know the significance of that, but it was like something.
Well, I think it was like a Kaminoanian, however you pronounce it, headpiece thing.
So she's renouncing her, like, what is she doing there?
It's independence. It's her basically saying, I'm my own person.
Yeah, moving forward. But they're parting, like, he's like, I'm sorry, kid, you can't stay with you. You got to go, I was like, that might have been 2 or 3 episodes a little soon. It might have, like, dug a little deeper, hurt a little more as a viewer. Might have felt a little more if that had happened a couple episodes later. What do you think?
Yeah, but also, too, for him, it's easier to do it sooner rather than later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's thinking, like, let's keep her safe so we can do our thing. So let's get rid of her.
Keep her out of danger. Right.
Yeah, he's looking at it from almost a military, aspect.
So
I got it. I had no problem with it.
Timeline-wise, it makes sense, right? Like, it should have.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of dramatic, like, payoff, like it could have happened in a little while later. But it was still an emotional moment. Speaking of emotional moments, if we can back a little bit, same second episode, she steps. Well, end of the first episode, she gets on a ship. She leaves Camino for the first time ever in her young life.
Yeah.
Next episode, we pick up, she gets off the ship. She's on Seleucami, right? That wherever Cut is living, that planet that kind of looks like a Felucia, that, floral planet, but it's a farming culture, it looks like. But she steps off and she immediately, like, feels the sun on her face, picks up some dirt, right?
That whole thing was beautiful.
The music, it was just perfectly done. I have screen grabs of it, but I can't find those screen grabs, so we'll just keep talking about it. But it was such a great moment, and I'm just like, wow, they're really thinking this thing through, and this character's going places, and literally going places, and we're gonna see her evolve. And by the time we're really old men, she'll be like grown up like Ahsoka, and then who knows what she'll be doing. Live action movies where she'll fit in.
I see Maria, who's part of our research staff, says it's going to run 16 episodes.
Okay. Is that a first season, Maria, or is that in total? Because if that's in total, then I'm just going to hang up right now because I can't handle it.
We need to get interns. That's what we need to do.
I think so. I did put the call out, so we've got a couple to field interviews to field this week. I think we can make that happen. One West Coast with you, one with me.
Sounds good to me. I'm all for it.
I was going to go on a tangent about Omega, but we can just wait and see how it turns out for her. But and then real quick, and then we'll be done with Bad Batch for right now. But episode 3. We get to see Saw Gerrera again, right?
Yeah.
And Saw Gerrera has like been everywhere. He's been in.
No, he was in the first one. I don't think he wasn't in the third one, was he? He was
in the first one. Sorry, and I just rewatched that one. Because Tarkin came to Camino.
Yeah.
gave them an assignment to wipe out some like fragmented separatist group that were trying to keep the war going. They get there, they find out it's Saw Gerrera and his band, right?
Yep.
So that's the mission I wasn't thinking of. What I was thinking of, the third episode, is Crosshair and these new elite troopers who look scary as hell.
The jackasses.
Yeah. Is that what
might not be the real name?
I'm not sure. I didn't see that anywhere in the transcript, but
okay.
So then they're elite. They're a pretty scary bunch. Then they go, and their mission is also a kind of a bait and switch, right?
Yeah.
Like they just come upon just more of Saw's people.
Yeah. It's a test. The whole thing's a test. Tarkin is testing them.
But now without Hunter at Crosshair's side, to keep him at bay, he just does the worst possible thing.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Yeah, I thought that was really some brutal stuff that they were, but they did it in a way that it was one of those kind of Hitchcock, what you don't see is worse than what you can be shown moments.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
Great filmmaking, terrible for my little children to watch. And I told you the other day,
the kids love the Deer Hunter. Can't get enough of it.
That's all they need is an animated Deer Hunter.
Dee Mao, come on, more.
So yeah, I told you the other day after I watched them, like I'm a horrible father. I told my kids, I always tell them when someone gets blasted, violence is not the answer. This is fantasy. And you probably shouldn't be watching this. And they say, no, we're watching. We love it. And then I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then they win. Dad
of the year. Here's your mug.
So Bad Batch, I've got a great feeling about where it's going. I'm enjoying it. It really is bridging the gap for me, like in terms of content between now and some more live action stuff at the end of the year. Yeah. Which I've been avoiding any articles, spoilers, or anything, which probably isn't great for presenting content on a live stream. But at some point, I'll have to dig in. But this is not the place to come for spoilers, really, or stolen footage or sneaked cam footage from Obi-Wan's house.
No.
I don't want to ruin it. Like I don't want to ruin it like that.
The Obi-Wan nanny cam has been hacked.
Yeah, I'm not going to present. We're not going to present any clickbait. I don't think. Well,
no. And I think also something we should say, because you and I talked about this a couple times before we started the show. We're always going to try to be positive, because there's enough BS negativity against Star Wars and certain aspects of Star Wars out there. And if that's what you want, go seek that here. But I think here we're going to try to have discussions and be open and honest as far as our opinions with Star Wars things go, and never really just try to like attack
the clones. Attack of the
which turns 19
a couple days ago. I think everything we're celebrating is belated at this point. Let's check it out. Let's move on from Bad Batch. Bad Batch.
I had my
looking
35th
good.
birthday many years ago.
Okay, so Maria says, man, that is quite a delay. Or Maria just fell asleep at the keyboard and just woke up. But first season is 16 episodes, and that sounds great to me. 6, fun-filled, chock full of drama, intrigue, and action. Let's do it.
All right.
And I meant to play the theme song underneath it as we talk, but it would have looped about 17 times. So let's move on.
I would have reported the show to YouTube.
That's true. You have to talk loud enough over this song so it doesn't pick it up with the waveform. I figured that out. Attack of the Clones. It's 19 years old, this movie, which is kind of crazy to think about, and to think about, like you and I were talking about before, the generation that grew up on the prequels. Yeah. And how they are all grown up now.
Crazy.
And where you and I were and our friends were, some of them who are watching, Ray, I hope you're still here, and what we were doing in anticipation of Attack of the Clones in 2002. And what the hype was, what the buildup was. I've got the trailer. I feel like we should try to watch the trailer really quickly if we can. Would you be interested in watching that really quickly? just for kicks. If I can pull it up here, I had it before.
If you can, if it crashes us down, though.
Yeah, this is true.
My attorney. Hey, if anybody in the chat can recommend a good attorney.
Do we get Glocks? Do you want to answer that? I don't even know how to answer that.
Speak to us after the show, Maria. Speak to us off air about Glocks.
I had in my possession a copy of the trailer, and I'm going to see if I can find it because it has disappeared off of my screen.
Lucasfilm heard about it and took it off.
I think they did. They reverse engineered my OBS, my screen, so I don't have it now. But at any rate, I'll just run through these couple of images and let me know, like,
okay,
where were you between? Where were you on the night of? But where were you between Phantom Menace? The dust settled on Phantom Menace. It was back then. It was 3 years between each film.
3 years, yeah. Always 3 years.
Now they're doing the sequels were every 2 years, and that's something we can discuss later.
Yeah.
Turnaround times and pressure.
Yeah, I had moved to New York and was still at the time feeling the sting of Phantom Menace, even though I saw it 6 times in the theater.
Isn't that something?
I kept thinking it was something to do with me. And we'll talk about Phantom Menace on a later show, but I have very different feelings now about it than I did at the time.
Amen.
So there was this kind of trepidation of like, okay, what are you going to give me now? Like, what's it going to be? And then reading a review from a nerdy website for movies that I don't want to mention, because the guy who runs it is kind of apparently kind of a not a nice person. And he said that he had seen the movie Attack of the Clones and it was amazing and blah, blah, blah. So I went in with really high expectations.
Okay.
And saw it opening day at the Ziegfeld Theater in New York City.
Wow. That's the place. That's the place you want to see it.
That was the best theater.
I saw one movie there, and I think it was with you, and I think it was a Spider-Man movie, maybe? I only went to the Ziegfeld once, and I think it was with you. And I don't remember what we saw. But I think it was just like Spider-Man 3 or something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Would that add up? Would that?
It might, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, are you talking about Ain't It Cool News? Is that?
Yeah.
All right, it's okay. Oh, it's very delayed. Maria's saying it's very delayed. Okay, well, at least they can hear us and see us. It just might be 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
So I have to sort that out. Stream settings. Maybe I can jump over and not blow up the show. Stream latency is set to low, so they should be able to. We should be getting some similar timing.
Yeah. So where were you? You were in Florida?
Yeah. I was in Florida. I was wrapping up my time at Disney. I had gone to Celebration 2. I had been immersed in all the hype. Going to Disney, going to Celebration 2 as a Disney cast member for Disney, but enjoying every perk of a guest when I wasn't working as a Disney cast member for that weekend. And just so into the hype and feeling positive and seeing the celebrities who we're going to see as these characters, and then I saw it and I really liked it.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
That's awesome.
I there were parts I just forgave it for so many things that I would later resent it for. Not too much later, I shook it off, like the fanboy, and like kind of like sobered up. And this is pre-internet, like, hey, jump on the pile on the bandwagon. I mean, there was internet, obviously, but there wasn't that big community of fans,
toxic fandom.
So this was just kind of like, I was like, I need to see it again. And then I had some friends who were like, oh, no. Aaron, I don't remember us talking about it. I feel like we must have at some point years ago, but you weren't one of the friends I remember that was dogpiling it. And I liked it. And then as the dust settled, I didn't like it as much. And then I, of course, got it on DVD, and then I didn't watch it for a long time. Like I put it away. And I put Phantom Menace away. But I've come back to the fold. Like we watched it recently. It's a lot to do with the Clone Wars cartoon. A lot. Yeah. Have those episodes. I'm still here, by the way. It's just my camera. Retroactively retrofitted so much context back into the prequels that it's hard not to like find them endearing and find things you like about them and realize these characters are iconic and they're going on. And there's Kit Fisto, right? There's, Mace Windu's legendary, and Ayla Sakura, and like Adi Gallia, like all these names, like all these characters, all these like
Ariana Grande.
She was there. That's where she got her start. Yeah. Like, just all these characters that found life in the Clone Wars cartoon, and you see them for little moments in Attack of the Clones. Yeah. And you're like, I know them. I know their story. They have so much more weight. The movie can't do that on its own. But like you were saying earlier in the show, like George had a chance to extrapolate, expand the universe, expand these characters with Dave Filoni, and they did it. They did it well. And so the prequels feel much more enjoyable to me now as a companion piece almost, or like the beginnings of the greater story. Like they have a place, and I dig them. And there's the cringeworthy moments. There's the weird choices that are made. There's
a few, yeah. I will say this about Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
While it is not anywhere near the top of my favorites, I watched it a couple years ago with my son, and we watched it specifically to let's look for things that we like about it. Let's not focus on the things that really drive us up the wall or whatever. Let's look what we like about it. And there are some things in there that are really wonderful, and I think it contains one of the best uses of a CGI character having a moment of that time, and it's Watto, and it's when Anakin comes back, and it's just this acting moment, and it's all zeros and ones, but it feels like flesh and blood, and it's him kind of like looking off, and you see his brow furrow, and he's like, Anakin, like Annie, like, is it you?
Yeah.
It's just I remember seeing that in the theater going, oh wow, that's really good. Like that's a great moment.
I knew it was important at the time. Like, oh wow, they're going back, and it's been 10 years or so. Like, but it didn't hit me until I watched it again recently with the girls, and it was sad. Wasn't that a sad moment?
Yeah.
Like there's Watto just older, wearing that silly old hat, and like, dude, you had such an effect on this young Jedi, this kid's life. And it's just it's such a sad little moment, but it felt real. Like you said, it's just like CG, but it felt like a real honest, like moment between these two beings that knew each other, right?
Yeah.
From a long time ago, and like how much has changed, and my goodness.
It's a nice moment.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second. Wait. Okay. I need to. Okay. How do we do this? I have a delivery downstairs that I got to go get.
You want to watch the trailer real quick, or no? Save it for another time. We can pick it back up, or do you want to? You have to.
Let me go get my package. I'm just gonna run downstairs real quick, get my package, and I'll come back up.
Let's watch.
I'll be right back. I just gotta get they're downstairs. I gotta let them in.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay,
I'll be here. I'll be here. I'll try to keep everybody busy. I will try to keep everybody busy. I figured I will show you guys the trailer that really got the hype going so many years ago. Let's see. Thank you for bearing with us on this first show. Lots of technical problems. Maybe we're running a little bit long. There's quite a delay, I see. What's this? Somebody's calling me. Hello? Hello? Hang on, I can't. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Yeah, hello there, Justin. How are you, pal?
Who's this?
It's your Uncle Rick. How you doing there, buddy?
Oh, my God.
Hey, pal. How are you, man? I haven't heard from you.
Great, Uncle Rick. Why are you calling me right now? It's 10 o'clock.
Well, your Aunt Bernice and I are we're watching you on the computer here, doing your show about the Star Wars, and I had to call in. I thought first time caller, long time listener. How you doing there, buddy?
Uncle Rick, we're great. We're live right now.
Okay, that's cool. So, how your show's going good, huh? You liking it?
I've got a picture of you already. I'll just slap it up there. Uncle Rick, things are great. I said, in the middle of a show, but
right. So I want to talk a little bit about this Star Wars. I've been a fan for a long time for these movies, and I hear you talking about this the clone movies, and those are okay. They're but for me, my 2 cents, and I'm going to give it to you, is for me the Star Wars peaked with the holiday special.
Oh my God, the holiday special again.
It never really recovered from there. They've tried, and B+ for effort, guys. You tried really hard.
So
yeah, go ahead, pal. What were you going to say, buddy?
Uncle Rick, come on with this holiday special. You're saying it went downhill after, that's where it peaked? Star Wars peaked?
Well, I mean, when's the last time you watched that masterpiece? You got all these Wookiees yammering around each other, talking in their language. You got the little kid wants to watch the Super Friends show. You got the mom wants to just make a beef stew. And then the old guy just wants to watch his little, internet porn. And that's it.
Good
and
God.
It's fun and it's exciting and it's like a look into a world you don't get to see that much.
Oh,
and I love
heavens. That's great.
Yeah.
You have different tastes, I guess, than I do, and that's probably why we don't talk maybe once every 10 years. But the holiday special, I don't even think I made it that far as to what you're describing. I don't know.
You got to give it a chance, buddy. It's kind of like it's sort of like a foreign film because there's a lot of talking in languages you don't understand. They don't put a subtitle or nothing down there. It's craziness.
Yeah. So and you get that kind of blows your hair back, huh? That's what you like?
Oh, it's like the first time you see Kurosawa or a Fellini movie. Now, I've seen none of their movies, but I got to assume it's sort of like the same thing.
You got to assume because you haven't seen much else, have you?
No, I'll tell you what I did like the Star Wars that they did. I liked that show they did with the guy. He's got a little like a baby puppet he carries around with him. That was okay. That was all right.
The guy with the baby puppet. Yoda.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Yoda?
He's got like a little, he's got like a little guy he carries around with him, and he looks like that guy from the Super Friends cartoon from the holiday special, Boba Fett.
Oh, yeah.
Boba Fett and the Puppet. That's the one. Yeah, I like that show. That was good. It reminded me of The Rifleman. You remember that show, The Rifleman?
I mean, from Nick at Night, I guess, like 30 years ago, when that show was already like 40 years old.
Hey, you know what I like to do sometimes? Let me tell you this, because, I'm an electrician, right?
Yeah.
So I go into a lot of people's homes, not so much lately with the pandemic, but sometimes this is how much I love the Star Wars, okay? I like to go to people's homes and I'm fixing a water heater, or I'm, moving a fridge, or just something as simple as screwing a light bulb in. And you can do this sort of thing when you're in the local 603. You can do all these different aspects of work. Anyway, what I like to do when I'm in the middle of a job is sometimes I'll turn to the person I'm doing a job for, and I'll say to them, "Hey, bring me the hydro spanners."
Ah, yeah.
And, you know, sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. It's fun. Kids are, you know, they get it.
So that picture of you there, you're like, looks like you're fixing a water heater. This picture, I actually pulled this off of your LinkedIn profile.
I'm looking for some work. The 603's been a little quiet lately. I'm not going to lie, kid. This epidemic, it's hit us hard.
The pandemic.
You know, potato.
So you like to pretend you're Han Solo, like repairing the Falcon?
Hey, I'm not, you know, hey, between just you and me, and nobody's going to hear this, right? Sometimes Bernice likes it when I wear that black vest that Harrison Ford wears in that first film. Yeah.
Hello, what have we here?
Oh, that guy's good, too. I like him. He's pretty good. He was in that other film, too, the Striking of the Empires. He's good.
Yeah.
You
caught that one.
Yeah.
You watched that one.
I did see that one, yeah, because, you know, I thought, hey, they're going to do more with the Wookiees, but they didn't do that much, but it was okay.
You love the Wookiees. That's your thing. That's your jam.
They're the best. The Wookiees are great. You know, though, I got to say, because you're talking about the Clone Attack movie.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones.
The guy who played the kid, what's his name? The Luke's dad. Anakin, yeah. Anakin, yeah. So that kid, he was okay, but you know who would have been really good in that role, and they should have got him, was Matthew Broderick.
Wow, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick. Oh my gosh, you think of him in that role. Look at him, and you can see him in the robes with the sword.
Yeah,
swinging it around. He would have been Matthew Broderick. He can do anything. He does the theater. He does the movies. He does drama.
You think
he does comedy.
You think his performance on like what the producers would translate into like being the chosen Jedi? Like
probably more something like from The Freshman with Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, that movie's a passing of the baton. It's Brando going, here, kid, this is yours now.
Yeah.
You run with this. You got the talent, you know? So I'm just saying they should have got Matthew Broderick.
Oh, you think that
hold
was
on a second. Bernice, what are you doing there? Okay, all right. Hey, Bernice is having another her asthma attack. I got to go help her breathe. Put a little Vicks Vapor Rub on her back, probably. Hey, listen,
that's where it goes.
You keep doing this show about the Star Wars, okay? You're doing a great job, kid, and we really miss you. We hope we get to see you sometime. Come up to Chicago and give us a visit, okay, kid?
Yeah, it's been like, 25 years, I think, since my parents drove us up there.
Yeah. I have no idea. I lose track of time ever since this epidemic hit.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go, kid.
All right.
Bernice, breathe.
Right.
Breathe. Oh my gosh.
All right. Bye, Uncle
47
Rick.
years of my life. Okay. All right.
God
here we
bless. Go. Yeah. God bless.
Take care there, kidding.
May the force be with you. Oh my God. Aaron's not gonna believe this. Oh my God. Hope he got his delivery. Okay, so we were gonna watch the trailer to.
I got mail.
Oh, so your delivery wasn't ready. Okay.
No, it was for another. It was apartment 14. Okay, yeah.
Well, you just missed a thing. You missed a whole thing.
What happened?
My Uncle Rick called. He called out of the blue.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he's dude has a flip phone, and he's talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking.
Is he still going on about Matthew Broderick?
Yeah. I think he's stuck in another. He's from another time, and he's stuck in another time other than that time he's from, which is all weird. And his favorite, he said Star Wars peaked at the holiday special, and he really loves Wookiees, and we will have to have him on again because he's an interesting character.
Okay.
But I don't know him that well. We went to see him a couple times at Thanksgiving, in the past 3 decades. Yeah. But he's a sweet guy. He means well.
Yeah.
And his aunt, she's my aunt by marriage. They're still together, and she's still alive. Although it sounds like she's hanging on by a thread.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe I missed. Because I remember he used to call you when we worked together in Florida.
Yeah, in Los Olas. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was always calling, asking for what sunglasses I was selling the most of.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he would go to like a Walmart and find the comparable style because he knew that was what he said. Any nephew of mine sells this glass. That's the glass I want to be wearing, but I can't afford to buy it from my nephew, so I'll go get the Walmart version.
Yeah.
He's a sweet guy. He's a blue collar guy.
I got to talk to him a few times on the phone.
You know,
All right,
he
so
makes.
what are we doing? We're watching the trailer here.
Yeah, he makes me remember where I came from, sort of. But we're not from Chicago. I'm Southern, so I don't understand the connection. But yeah, I figured let's just watch this, talk another minute or two, and then just go night night.
Okay.
It's been a fun show. It's been such a journey just to get to this, what I think is beyond a test show, but I think it's still it's definitely a work in progress, right?
We got our first episode up. It's rough, but we're going to get better as we go on. The more we do, the better it'll get.
Yeah.
And with Maria there every step of the way.
I'd like if my wife tuned in, but sounds like bedtime was rough with the kids. I tried to get 2 of them to go to sleep, but sounds like they all ganged up on her when I went to sleep. But yeah, so let's well, we do give them some magnesium here and there.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not going to tell you the dosage, but let's see. All right, so I just need to.
Okay,
I can do this on the fly. I just need to. I had to re-import. This is the buggy thing about OBS, folks. Behind the scenes, you can set something up and then you go to play it, and it may not be there anymore, and that's just the nature of it. And it's free, but it works, and we got it to work. I'm looking at us right there. We're not too far delayed, even though Maria says we're delayed. I'm looking.
I think she's talking about our flight because we're catching a flight later.
Where are we going?
Bahamas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the tax shelter thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got all these write-offs for this show. We have so many write-offs. And media source, I'm going to. This is not interesting to anyone but us. And let's play it and see if it plays. And let's talk about the trailer. And then we'll tease what's going to come up next week. And we'll talk about what's happening in our show, too.
Okay.
Let's see if it works. I miss this screen. I love this old screen. The preview screen. Remember when they changed the font? Remember the 20th Century Fox logo?
Mm-hmm.
You know that musical cue. That's some Empire. That's some Return of the Jedi business right there.
I will not let this republic be split in two. My negotiations will not fail.
If they do, there aren't enough Jedi to protect the Republic. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
Well, you've lost him.
If you'll excuse me.
I hate it when he does that.
Anakin, don't do anything without first consulting either myself or the Council.
You don't need guidance, Anakin. I see you becoming the greatest of all Jedi.
The boy has exceptional skills.
His abilities have made him arrogant.
Excuse me. I'm in charge of security here, milady.
They are using a bounty hunter named Jango Fett to create a clone army.
Wait.
We must stop them before they're ready.
Your clones are very impressive.
They'll do their job well. Blast! That's why I hate flying.
This is a crisis. The Senate must vote the Chancellor emergency powers.
As my first act, I will create a grand army of the Republic to counter the increasing threats of the Separatists.
Hasn't been a full-scale war since the formation of the Republic.
Bibble.
You must join me.
What a ninny.
And together we'll destroy the Sith.
The dark side clouds everything. In grave danger you are. Begun this Clone War has.
Dude.
Still not as good as the first Phantom Menace trailer.
Not by a long shot. Not by a million parsecs.
But
just no way. It seems like with the luxury of all this time that's passed and seeing that movie so many times now and knowing that music all coming and knowing where each of those like motifs comes from, those cuts, it's throwing me all over the place and not like excited about that movie.
Yeah.
And knowing the context of every scene, we're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah. We'll talk about that segment. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, the thing that stands out to me about that is the character of Dooku, that I always wanted more of Dooku, even though he popped up in the Clone Wars cartoon. I always wanted to know more about him. And I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure there's a novel out there about him and his upbringing, but I thought he doesn't read character. And there's a great book called Master and Apprentice that kind of talks about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but Dooku shows up in that as well. And Qui-Gon's another character that I want to know more about. And,
love him. Yeah.
But,
that trailer is so strange to me.
Yeah, and looking at it, and I've had the movies on in the background a lot in the last couple months because I've been doing a lot of long hours working, so you just got to have some stimulus in the background.
Yeah.
And there's just something about some shots in the prequels that are just so obviously green screen to me that it takes me out of it. I can't think, oh, they're actually in this great hall or whatever. It's to me, it's like there's nothing tangible for me there, and that's a me thing. Some people buy it.
Yeah, they didn't have the compositing was not down to a science then, and they pushed it. They really did. Then they shoot. Yeah. Was that the first one that was shot all digitally with Sony cameras?
Yep.
It was an innovative, huge milestone in filmmaking, but at the expense of making it feel completely authentic. I did get I got the willies a little bit with what do we have here?
Star Wars myth making behind the scenes of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, nice.
And there's a lot of blue and green screens.
Not gonna lie, when Django showed up in that trailer, it still like brought me back because that's probably my favorite bit. Camino is has become one of my favorite places in all of Star Wars mythology. It's even though it's like a one-note planet with just it's all wet and water, but those crazy Kaminoans and their measured delivery and their like dedication to science and they're like kind of they are war profiteers. Like it's complex, and the fact that the Bad Batch actually went back there as home base, I'm like, oh wow, we're gonna get to go here probably quite a bit.
Yep.
And get to see these Kaminoans and that always intrigues me. And something we didn't touch on that I wanted to quickly touch on, as we were talking about the Bad Batch. See, we could you and I could talk for days and days and days, which is good for our endeavor here. But the big question mark for me is, where did all the clones go? And when did all the conscripted and drafted and volunteers for the Empire put on the stormtrooper armor? When was that? What was that handoff like? That you said it earlier. It's going to get dark, right? Like we were talking about how dark is it going to get, and I think that's kind of going to be like a gut wrenching big moment in the Star Wars timeline. Whether it plays out over seasons or is it going to be like a season one ender, like there's a kill switch or something, and all the clones just drop,
Maybe.
There's got to be a kill switch.
Something as horrible as the Emperor rounding them up.
Oof.
That'd be a representation of history.
Yeah. But that's something that's been on anybody's mind that's been trying to connect the dots between like, well, wait, where did all the clone troopers go? That question's come up a lot over the years. And so this, maybe I'm late to looking ahead, but this is going to answer that question. And I think that's going to be that'll be one of the big overarching storylines in this.
Yeah.
Lots of things. They're just building this thing out, and they're expanding and connecting, and I love it. It just legitimizes the mythology. It just keeps
awesome.
it going. Let me get
I'll
back
throw something to you.
This is what I like. Here we are.
For next week's show.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I want to know, hang on. Always good for radio, coughing. Your top 5
okay.
Star Wars John Williams cues, as well as one not so favorite John Williams cue. That's for next week's show.
Let's start that episode right now.
What? I've got to pee.
Because I could. I could right now. We could do it right now. But yeah, we'll do that next. We could either do that next live stream Monday, or next show. Next show.
And for the 5, now 4 people watching.
5, it's back to 5. Somebody is falling asleep and logging in.
Yeah, it went back up now. Okay. Yeah, so top 5 John Williams cues from Star Wars, and one that you're kind of like, eh.
Okay. I got them. I just need to put them in order.
Okay.
But that's awesome. That'll be our feature segment next week. And we're caught up with the Bad Batch, so maybe we'll do a breakdown. I'll take, since it's not such a daunting task that we're caught up, I'll do a little breakdown. We will do our top 5 John Williams cues for Star Wars films, and then whatever other news comes into place. In fact, the news is just pouring in now. Matt Drum just sent me something right before the show about Brie Larson potentially being cast as a character in an upcoming Star Wars project.
They've been saying that for years, and then people online go crazy. And
yeah, I think it would make the fandom menace go absolutely nuts at this choice, at this selection. But yeah. I'll do a little more homework. It was only showing up on one place, and the headline said rumored to be cast as, but then in the article it says is it maybe in serious talks. So it's like, what is it? Are they in serious talks, or are they cast?
Yeah.
It was kind of a contradictory. It was BS, but it was a little clickbait. Anyway, okay, so maybe we won't report on that. But I thought it was interesting. So much Star Wars news coming down the line, and there's not even much actively happening right now in terms of live action and film.
No. I did see an interview today with Ewan McGregor. He talked a little bit about Obi-Wan, but he didn't say anything. He wouldn't say much. And then for anybody and I'm probably maybe the only one out of the 7 people that are involved with the show right now. There's a game called Galaxy of Heroes that I play on my phone, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and they have some big news coming out this week about an upcoming character, so that's exciting.
Can we talk about that on Monday?
Totally.
Put it on the list.
Got it.
All right. We will see everyone soon. Hang in there. Hang in there. We're going to come up with a sign-off, too. I know May the Force be with you is an easy go-to. And my greeting is supposed to be Greetings, Exalted Ones. I wanted to go with that because that's one of my favorite Luke lines from Return of the Jedi. But it'll all work in. It'll all work out.
Yeah. Hey, we're just getting started.
So please follow, subscribe, like, and turn on the notifications so you can see when we're going to be on live next, which should be every Monday night at 9 o'clock for about an hour, and hopefully with fewer technical difficulties. But thank you, close friends who tuned in live, and hopefully we'll get some replays, and we'll take it from there. Until then,
this is the way.
That's all I got right now. Oh, I can't wait to have this all figured out. All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
This is the way.
We'll do it live!